Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Do you ever forget to breathe? I feel that I should probably remind you that you have to breathe to live. And it's very important for you to breathe oxygen every second. Just inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. It's extremely important. And I believe that there should be more celebrities, more politicians, more public information, public service announcements. We should placard the whole town, city buses and billboards and TV commercials. It needs to be everywhere because people need to know that you have to breathe to live. It's vitally important to your survival to breathe. If you don't, well, then you're not going to live. It's extremely important, and we need to remind people every day when you're out and about, when you're with your friends and your family and your spouses and your children and your coworkers, wherever you're at, you need to remind people that they have to breathe. They have to breathe in oxygen if they want to stay alive. I know that sounds pretty ridiculous. You're probably all wondering, what is going on with him? Has he lost his mind? You see, the point that I'm trying to make is we all know that. We all know that breathing is essential to living. And no one really has to remind us of that. You all know that you need to drink water. You know, maybe you don't drink as much as you should. My wife gets on to me for that. You're not drinking enough water. But I know that I have to have water to survive. And if I stopped drinking water altogether, well, I wouldn't live very long. We know these things. We know these things are obvious. I know that when it is cold outside and it's freezing and snow is blowing, I know that I need to put a coat on. I know I need to bundle up. I know that if I don't, I'll get really cold. And if I stay out in it long enough, well, then it could become dangerous for me. These are just common sense things that we should know. So if this is how things are, that, you know, common sense things that we just know. We just know that it's important. It's important for us to survive. If we know these things, then why are there some people that are trying so hard to convince us that this thing that they're doing to people over here is what it's going to take to survive? Why are they trying so hard to sell this? I don't ever remember anything else being pushed this hard by such a broad spectrum of people. Not just politicians, not just news media, not really just Hollywood, people on the left, people on the right. Everyone is trying to convince everyone else that this is vitally necessary for our survival. And it's getting to the point that I hope a lot of people are starting to kind of wonder, why are they trying so hard to convince us? I mean, if it's really that important, most people should know that if you want to survive this thing, because it's so deadly, and this thing is proven over and over again to be so safe, then people should just naturally want to get it, right? So if people aren't wanting to get it, and they're obviously trying so hard to convince us, then maybe it's not what they say it is. Maybe the whole thing isn't what they say it is. And without saying too much, because of course this is YouTube, and you know I have to be really careful about what I say, I think if nothing else, regardless of what this side says the numbers are, and this side says the numbers are, and what this scientist says is going on, and this scientist says that this is going on. To me, just the simple fact that they are trying so insanely, ridiculously hard. I mean, I've seen them pulling out celebrities that no one's heard of in 15, 20 years, and the just the amount of ridiculousness, giving away free donuts, giving away free this, free that, free memberships, you know, all this kind of stuff if you go get your little card that says you've gotten it in your arm. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous for something that's only really life-threatening to less than about 0.5% of the population. And I understand there's people out there that's gotten sick, and there's people out there that's perished from it, or at least that's what they tell us they have. But the reality is, I'm not willing to put something that's still experimental, something that's just nobody really knows what's in it. Nobody really knows what it's going to do. Nobody knows what the long-term effects. I'm not willing to do that to my body. And with all the stuff that's going on, if you watched the live stream last night, I talked about them wanting to put Biden's administration, he is wanting to put, restrictions on the amount of meat we consume and the amount of animal products that are in the market. A drastic reduction. Reduce red meat by 90%, reduce all animal products by 50%. And that's just the beginning. More control and more restrictions on regular farming, promoting, synthetic lab-grown meats and stuff, all that kind of stuff. At what point can you see all this stuff? I understand there's still some people that are so asleep. They're still watching the Kardashians or whatever's on. I don't even know if that show's still on. I've never watched it in my life. But they're so busy doing that kind of stuff, they don't even know about this. But the ones that do know about this, the ones that do know this stuff that we talk about from time to time, they see it. How can you still continue seeing this stuff and not realize that something is up, something is radically wrong, that we're heading in we've made a sharp left turn. This nation, I believe, as much as some people look back at previous presidents over the last few decades, including the previous one, that say, oh, is a great conservative, president. My opinion is if you go back in the last 100 years, at least, America has consistently been moving towards the left. That's the direction we've been going. There have been times conservatives and stuff have tried to slow that direction down and not make it quite as steep an angle, but we've always been moving towards the left. But now things have changed a little bit. Things have changed only in the sense that we're moving that direction faster, and I think the angled direction to the left is a little bit steeper angle. You can't live with your head in the sand forever. You have to start realizing that, 1 and 1 makes 2, 2 and 2 makes 4. When you start seeing all the ridiculousness with the demic going on, the health crisis, and the fact that now the VP, she's talking about, oh, we got to get ready for the next one because there's probably another one coming down the pike. All the stuff that they're trying to do with food, all this stuff that they're talking about with systemic racism and all these problems, these social problems that, some, master's degree in education created and some psychologist created. It's crazy. The stuff that they're talking about globally, the economy, the things that they're doing. This stuff isn't just random. These aren't just things that just are happening, just happen to happen at the same time. This is all an organized effort, folks. It's an organized effort to push us in one solid direction and to push us very, very hard in that direction. And I think my personal opinion is their idea is you either get on this train or you get left far, far behind. And as far as I'm concerned, leave me behind. I don't want part of this party. I don't want on it. And that's why we prepare. And that's why you should prepare. Talking to people here locally, recently, different people. And kind of the consensus is the same. They all kind of, all the conversations, I think, agreed with what I'm saying today. And one person said that, it's pretty much about at the time that we stopped trying so hard to wake people up. And I'm not saying that's exactly where we're at, and I'm not saying that's where I'm at, but at least he did make a good argument. He said it's time to stop worrying about waking people up It's time to take care of our own, build connections with others that we can trust and that we know around us. And when someone comes up to you and like, oh yeah, you're getting your thing in the arm. Oh yeah, sure, yeah. Oh great, think it's great, and just play right along. Do kind of the gray man. And I'm not on here necessarily advocating lying, but I think if we are not now living in this world, in a world, we will be soon enough that for our own safety, our own family safety, we probably are going to have to make that decision to not be quite as truthful, to blend in, to say things that aren't exactly fully honest. And I know that kind of probably sounds bad. I think some of you that are good moral believers and stuff, you might say, "Oh, is Travis on here telling people to lie?" Um, you take it as you want. I'm just saying that I think that we're probably going to live in a world here soon enough that you're better off by just trying to blend in and say, "Yeah, sure, I got that thing in my arm and I feel great. Oh yeah, I'm doing great, doing good. Oh yeah, I support it. Oh yeah, the man in the White House is doing great. Yeah. Oh yeah, man, I'm telling you, it's awesome." And then at the same time, finding people, building connections, knowing, almost like an underground railroad network type of thing. I have given this kind of stuff thought before, but not as much as I had since this conversation with this friend here locally. And he was making a good case for it, that if we're not now, we are soon probably going to be in a place that's kind of how we have to behave. Think of different times in history, say the occupation of Germany over France or something like that, where the French people probably tried to play along with them in public, but behind the scenes were working against them. They had to put on this little act to act like they were supportive of the Nazi regime while they were occupying in their country, but behind the scenes doing other things. That may be what we soon face here in this country. And it's sad that that's where we're at. It's sad that we once lived in a nation where we really, encouraged people to speak their mind, and we encouraged differences of opinions. And even though we may not have always agreed with each other, we knew that we had in each other had a right to speak that. I've said it before. If they ever passed a law outlawing someone's religious freedom of a religion that I think is absolutely horrible, if there was some satanic Luciferian religion or something, and they wanted to pass a law saying, "Oh, you can't practice that," I'd be one of the first people out there, speaking out against that. Because if they can take away their rights, they can take away my rights. But yet that's not the mentality nowadays. You either have to toe the line that they tell you to take, or you don't get any rights anymore. You don't get to speak out. You don't get to believe the way you want to do. And that's the direction that we're headed. So I think many preppers, and this is just an opinion, I think many preppers prepped for these big apocalyptic events, EMPs, volcanic eruptions, CMEs, a nuke being detonated, things like that. But I don't know that every prepper always thought and planned about living in a world like this type of dystopian world, how to prepare for it. And it's a very different way of preparing. It's a very different way of thinking. And I think it's something that's necessary. I think that I truly, and there's going to be someone that's going to say that I'm trying to scare people, that I'm trying to make something out of nothing. I truly believe that currently, right now, you and I, in this nation, this country called the United States, that we are living in a real, full-blown SHTF. I believe that that's what we are. The feces has hit the fan. I can't exactly pinpoint the moment that it happened, but it's hit the fan. And while some parts of our lives may seem normal still, we need to start behaving in a manner as if we are living in an SHTF, because I believe that we are, because the things around us are changing so rapidly from a day-to-day basis. I mean, you wake up and there's new things, new policies, new things that you can't say now, new things that you can't post now, new rules that you can't, watch certain videos, that you can't think certain thoughts, that now you're a racist if you do this, now you're a bigot if you do this, now you're homophobic, transphobic, whatever phobic if you do this, now you're a hateful person, now you're an extremist if you do this, oh, now you're a terrorist if you do this. It's almost daily. So yeah, it's an SHTF. By all definition, I believe it is. And we have to start behaving that way. And we have to start carrying out our lives and focusing on our preparedness and our self-sufficiency based on that fact that we are living in an SHTF. It may last long term, it may last forever, and it may not last that long at all. But I think that that's kind of the focus that we need to look at when we're doing all the things that we do to be preppers, to be homesteaders, to be self-sufficient, is that it's already been slung at the fan, and now we got to live through it. And hopefully and prayerfully it doesn't get worse, but to be honest, the way things are looking and the way what they're talking about, it probably is going to get worse. And so we have to prepare accordingly for that. All right, folks. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.